Welcome to Legacy Leaders, a weekly talk show with national and local thought leaders on issues impacting the South Florida Black community. Now introducing our host, Anne-Marie Sorrell.
Welcome to Legacy Leaders. I'm your host, Anne-Marie Sorrell, President and CEO of the Mosaic Group, your award-winning global marketing, advertising, and public relations agency. Today, I'm joined by Chief James Reyes, who serves as the Chief of Public Safety for Miami-Dade County and is also a candidate for Sheriff for Miami-Dade County. And we'll be discussing all the work that he has done in keeping Miami-Dade County residents safe, as well as the upcoming election. Welcome, Chief Reyes.
Greetings, Anne-Marie. Thank you for having me. Honored to be on your show today.
Thank you for being here. It's a great honor to have you. You have such a rich history, and I can't wait to dive right into your background, the work you've been doing as chief, as well as this upcoming election. How exciting this must be for you.
It's exciting times. Obviously, it's historic times, right, for Miami-Dade County as we get ready here to elect our first sheriff in more than 60 years. It's a unique opportunity, and I'm truly honored to be part of it.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get to that a little bit later in the show, but I want to start with giving our viewers an opportunity to learn about your background and what led you to being the Chief of Public Safety for Miami-Dade County, and then now this, run for this historic position, possibly becoming Miami-Dade County's first sheriff in over 60 years.
Sure, thank you. So, Morning Chief, raised right here in Miami-Dade County, product of the Miami-Dade County public school system. I first lived in Miami Gardens, then in Hialeah, and then obviously I went to school in college, actually, earned my bachelor's at Barry University. Then I also earned a master's later on and did some other professional certificates and whatnot. But my career actually started at the Broward Sheriff's Office, serving there for almost 23 years. I started there on the correction side, actually. And I tell the youth, sometimes you find your niche, sometimes your niche finds you. And for me, my niche became being able to deal with folks that were suffering from mental illness and mental health crises and being able to de-escalate those situations. And I became the de facto go-to guy, so to speak, a little bit over 25 years ago, as it relates to de-escalating those type of critical incidents. And then as I got promoted, I ended up doing more and more mental health initiatives and setting best practices, not only locally, but at the national level as well. Ultimately, I worked for 4 different sheriffs during my tenure there and got promoted under all 4. A true testament to the teams that we were able to build, the ability to identify talent and give that talent the resources necessary to truly better serve our community, right? Which is ultimately our number one responsibility as public servants, serving our community. I was in the middle of the pinnacle of my career, serving as colonel and executive director there at the Broward Sheriff's Office. It's actually one of the largest sheriff's offices in the country, has over 5,600 employees. And a budget of over $1.2 billion. And I was serving as the executive director there, overseeing the administration of law enforcement, fire, rescue, and corrections. When I got a call from, oddly enough, a sheriff in Colorado who I had helped on some mental health initiatives at the national level. And he told me, hey, I think I found a job for you, and I think you'd be great for it. And of course I said, well, wait a minute, I'm not looking for work. I'm serving as the colonel right now of one of the largest sheriff's offices. But long story short, a couple of days later, I'm meeting with Mayor Daniela Vincava. They should have started with that, or they should have started with the fact that it was an opportunity to come back home and serve my hometown. And they would have had me interested a lot quicker. But as soon as I found out it was Miami-Dade, obviously I was all in. We had some challenges locally here in Miami-Dade as it relates to our criminal justice system, even particularly as it relates to our correctional system. We were under a federal consent decree, and I think it was well documented, some of the challenges that we were having as a correctional system, and that we weren't treating folks the way we should have been treating them all along during their stay in our jails. And for me, I had a reform background. I've always been known to be the one to not hesitate to challenge the status quo. And for me, it was an honor to be able to come to back home to Miami-Dade County and bring forth solutions, right, and bring forth reform, much needed reform. And what we found was exactly what I expected. I tell everyone the talent here in Miami-Dade County is second to none. So luckily, as a leader recruited to come back home, I didn't have to show up with another 20 folks to help me get this done. I was able to tap into the talent that existed here, earn their buy-in, and provide them with the necessary resources to correct some of the deficiencies that have been noted by the Department of Justice. And I'm proud to say that even though our county was under a federal consent decree by the Department of Justice for over 10 years, in just 11 months as a team, we were able to be found in substantial compliance by the Department of Justice and make the necessary reforms. And that recognition, I think, led the mayor to challenge me to accept the position I'm currently in of Chief of Public Safety. Basically, after seeing the reform and the change in culture and morale within the Department of Corrections, she challenged me to bring that same type of reform and that same willingness to challenge the status quo to police and to fire rescue as well, which is what I'm currently doing. I'm currently the Chief of Public Safety, overseeing Miami-Dade Police Department, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, and Miami-Dade Corrections, always making sure that those three entities are collaborating and working with one another in a more efficient and effective way to keep our community safe here in Miami-Dade.
Wow, that's amazing. So thank you for taking us through that journey of your career and your profession. Since you've been in the role of Chief of Public Safety, what would you say some of your highlights or accomplishments have been in that role?
We've had a lot. I mean, I could point to so many, but I think the relationship building with the community is by far the thing I'm proudest of the most. And I think that we still have a lot of more room to grow. And as we talk, as my commitment to this community as sheriff moving forward, we can get into some of that. But I'm truly proud of how we engage our community currently, not only from a law enforcement perspective, but also from a corrections perspective and even from a fire rescue perspective, but that we're reflective of our community. I'm extremely proud of that too. I'm the Chief of Public Safety. I have a director that reports to me, Stephanie Daniels, out of police. I have Sharia Green, who's a director of corrections, and I have Ray Jadala, who's the fire chief. And for me, I'm extremely proud that all four of us are homegrown. We're all products here of the Dade County Public Schools. And I think that's important. I think it's important when we talk about potentially establishing certain youth programs. I think it's important when you talk about branding and engaging the community. And I think it's something we have to do more of. And I'm committed to doing more of once I God willing, achieve the role of sheriff, because I think we need to feature local talent in order to motivate our youth to aspire to be just that, the future leaders of our county.
Absolutely. Now, do you feel like there's going to be a difference with this transition from having a chief of public safety to having an actual sheriff?
Yes, I think our community are going to experience several changes. I think it'll be a cultural shift, right? Sheriff is elected by the people. It's an independent constitutional office that no longer will report to the mayor, will no longer have day-to-day operation influenced by, commission approval on certain purchases, certain contracts. The sheriff will act as an independent body that ensures the public safety of this community. And I'm a big advocate for that position, not only to oversee law enforcement, but to also oversee corrections as well, because we know there's certain efficiencies and certain level of public safety effectiveness that best practices show us are produced when those two disciplines are brought under the same umbrella. It's what you see across the state of Florida. I'm looking forward to seeing it here. But I tell everyone that the easiest way I could explain it, I guess, is, I have a police director and we have police chiefs across this great county whose number one priority is to enforce the law. But for me, working alongside some sheriffs that I feel did it the right way, being sheriff goes way beyond just simply enforcing the law. It's serving as the conscience of the community. And that's where that leadership role really will be emphasized and highlighted, because ultimately we're here to serve the community who elected us, right? As sheriff, as an independent constitutional office, and we owe it to our community, not only to be reflective of our community visibly, but also to make sure that our priorities as a sheriff's office, as an organization, reflect the priorities of the community and the values of our diverse Miami-Dade community. And I'm committed to doing that. I'm committed to having open lines of communication and engaging our community to ensure that we're providing them with the public service that they expect and they deserve.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we will dive into the upcoming election.
Thank you.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman & Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters, because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. The Mesman & Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
We're made, surrounded, and thrown into it, fed, energized, and supported by it. Water makes everything possible, from the very firsts to the everyday, during the make or breaks, or after lazy days, for the dreams come true, and everything in between. Because water is life.
Welcome back, Chief Reyes. So you, candidate for sheriff, outside of kind of maybe a natural progression into the role, is there any other determining factor that made you say, hey, you know what, I want to do this. I want to now be elected by the voters of Miami-Dade County?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, obviously, it obviously pulled to the strings of my heart is the fact that this is my hometown, right? The opportunity to be the first sheriff in 60 years in your hometown. And, you know, there's a certain level of obligation that you feel when an opportunity like this comes to fruition. And knowing that at that time when I had this discussion with my family, I would be, and ended up being all along, the only candidate with executive leadership experience in a sheriff's office, definitely had a big to do with why I'm running, right? Everyone looks to you and says, hey, you now are familiar with the county model, but there's no one else running that has executive leadership experience in a sheriff's office, and you've done it already. You would be a prime candidate for it. And that's when we started having the conversation. And, you know, the kids are excited. They want to be part of being back in daddy's home and giving back. And to me, that's truly the most rewarding experience of my career, serving the residents of Miami-Dade County, a county that received me and my family with open arms and gave us every opportunity under the sun to achieve the American dream in our own way. I think we all have our own perception of that dream, and thanks to this county and its acceptability of me and my family, I'm able to run as a candidate for sheriff in this beautiful democracy we live in. I'm a son of a political prisoner, so obviously democracy and civil rights is something that's near and dear to my heart, and I'm going to do everything I can to protect those rights here in Miami-Dade County.
Awesome. Thank you, Chief Reyes. So for those who may not be familiar with how this position would now work, especially for municipalities that have their own police department within Miami-Dade County, how does this a new role of sheriff, which is a countywide vote and seat, how does this new role impact the services of the other municipalities that have police department, as well as those unincorporated areas and municipalities that may not have their own police department?
Yeah, so in my experience, obviously there's some distinct differences, especially from what our residents can expect here, especially those that live in municipalities. So traditionally, Miami-Dade Police Department, obviously they're responsible for unincorporated Miami-Dade County and the 3 cities that they contract with for police service. One thing we can expect is at the end of the day, all of our residents in Miami-Dade County, whether they have a municipal police department in their city or not, vote for the sheriff. So the sheriff has a duty to be responsive to everyone, whether they have those city municipal police departments or not. So one thing you can expect is more engagement on behalf of the county sheriff's office, even within municipalities, and also more collaboration, more training done with local municipal police departments so that we're better equipped for that unfortunate day that when Murphy visits, we're ready to protect our residents, and we're ready to respond in an efficient and effective manner. And the only way that we can get ready is to train together, right? Train with one another. And I tell everyone, all too often in my experience, the first call from the sheriff was to the municipal police chief to give him a heads up on a concern from a constituent, because at the end of the day, the constituents vote for the sheriff. So sometimes they call the sheriff, even though they have a municipal police department. So it's the first call should usually be to the chief of police to ask them to take care of it and take care of the concerns of the constituent. But shortly thereafter, obviously, if that concern is not addressed, the sheriff has to take action, because again, we're elected by the entire electorate of the county, not just those in unincorporated or in cities that sign on, like is current the case with Miami-Dade Police Department.
Thank you. Now, some of the challenges that I know have been pressing when it comes to law enforcement, particularly in Black communities and Black and Brown communities, community policing, having, trust in law enforcement, as well as police reform. And then now when you add additional, gun violence, school violence, and all these different add-ons to it, give us your stance on these different efforts as it relates specifically to Black and Brown communities.
Yeah, I think obviously there's layers, right? There's layers to bridging that gap with our community. And obviously it starts with representing our community. We have to be representative of the community that we serve, and we have to recruit locally because no one knows the idiosyncrasies of our community better than we do. So we need to make sure that not only the leadership, but all the way down to the boots on the ground, we're recruiting locally, and it's that local talent that's making up our force. Also, always emphasizing the importance of building public trust. I tell everyone, without the trust of the community, we can never achieve public safety. It's impossible. And we need to make sure that we engage our community. I'm looking forward to having an outreach team, particularly made up of civilian individuals. I've seen it work in the past. It's a best practice. We know that in certain communities, folks are hesitant to approach our officers or our deputies when they're in uniform for a whole host of different reasons. And yet, when we send a task force of civilian folks in there that don't have weapons, that are not sworn law enforcement, we get a lot of feedback and unfettered feedback back from the community. And that allows us to address that community's concerns, that community's issues, and better serve those residents. But, all too often we have incidents, unfortunately, that bring distrust. And as the leader of the organization, I have to be in front of that. And I have to be the voice that says when we do something right, but also says when we do something wrong. And that comes down to transparency, due process, and something we all want to see, accountability. And I've always been committed to those three pillars, and I'm committed to doing it as sheriff. And what I've found is, regardless of incident, when you're transparent, when you allow due process, and when you hold folks accountable, the community is satisfied with how that approach reflects their values and their priorities within the organization.
Absolutely. Now, I want to get into your first 100 days and what that looks like for you. So let's just dive right in quickly. What would a first 100 days look like for you?
Not a lot of time to celebrate the election win. I can tell you what, that starts on November 6th. And the 100 days starts off with a commitment that I've made early on within the first 30 days to establish an independent public corruption unit. As I've covered the four corners, it's something that I announced immediately after announcing my campaign, primarily because I had the benefit of working alongside an independent public corruption unit in the sheriff's office before I retired from it, and saw the benefits from it, and saw how it builds public trust. But the first 30 days, I'm looking forward to establishing that unit. I already have the resources identified within that organization to establish that. And one of the most important things that we're looking to do within the first 100 days is redistrict our resources. So we currently have a districting map that basically serves as a guideline to how we manage our resources countywide. And unfortunately, that map has not been updated for quite some time. And we know we've had a lot of population shifts, primarily here in Miami-Dade County toward the south end of the county, both on the east and the west side of the turnpike. So we need to be able to blur out, so to speak, those boundaries on the map and evaluate calls for service, evaluate the sway or the shift in population, and then redistrict our county so that we're deploying our resources in a more efficient and effective manner.
Thank you for sharing the information, Chief Reyes. Stay with me as we take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll continue this conversation.
I grew up down here in South Florida, so for me, it's a little bit more personal.
For the Mesman & Dover Law Firm, it's about community.
For us, South Florida's our home. You all are our people.
Our family, our future.
The difference we'll make for you, your loved ones, your kids, matters, because to us, it's personal.
If you need us, call us 24/7 at 866-954-MORE.
That's 866-954-6673. The Mesman & Dover Law Firm, youraccidentattorneys.com.
We're made, surrounded, and thrown into it, fed, energized, and supported by it. Water makes everything possible, from the very firsts to the everyday, during the make or breaks, or after lazy days, for the dreams come true, and everything in between. Because water is life.
At DRT Behavioral Services, we provide culturally sensitive mental health evaluations with thorough treatment plans, incorporating alternative forms of wellness, not just Western traditional medicine. Besides medication management and psychotherapy, we provide education to people in the areas of minority mental health with classes on your diet's impact on mood and sleep hygiene for better rest. We also offer weight loss therapy, massages, and facials. Visit brainlovehelp.com today.
Chief Reyes, as we wind down our conversation, this is a very important election that's coming up. Not only are our residents going to be casting their vote for President of the United States, but there's also several local races, municipal, county, state, congressional races as well. What message do you want to resonate with voters as they begin to complete and return their vote by mail ballots? Think about as they're planning for early voting or going to the polls on election day. What is the message that you want to resonate with voters?
Well, there's two messages. As a candidate, obviously, is that experience matters. This is a historic election. It's the first time that we're going to elect a sheriff here in Miami-Dade County, and we need someone that has executive leadership experience in a sheriff's office, and that's familiar also with the county government as it stands today. And that executive leadership experience that I built over 22 years, having served as the colonel and executive director of the Broward Sheriff's Office, makes me ready on day one. As does being raised in Miami-Dade County and understanding this community to take on this challenge to transition us to a sheriff's office. But perhaps the most important message has nothing to do with me and everything to do with your audience getting out and vote. This is a historic election. We need to vote like our future depends on it, because it does. And we truly have to exercise our right to democracy, to uphold democracy this election. And please, if I could send one clear message to your viewers, is to please get out and vote.
Absolutely. Elections do have consequences, as we've witnessed time and time again. And if someone wants to learn more about you, Chief Reyes, as well as even possibly get involved with your campaign or just get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to reach out or learn?
Sure, the simplest way is jamesreyes.vote. Go to jamesreyes.vote. All the handles are there. All your volunteer information is all there. Campaign donations, you name it, it's on there. jamesreyes.vote, number 73 on the ballot.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here. Elections are underway. This is a very important upcoming election. And we do here at Legacy Leaders and MIA Media Group encourage you to get informed, get the facts, learn about the candidates, and make an informed decision. Get out and vote, and make sure you bring friends and family with you to vote. Vote, vote, vote again, like your life depends on it, because it does, especially at the local level. You do not want to gloss over or not vote the whole ballot. Thank you so much, Chief Reyes, for joining me. And we thank you for serving as the Chief of Public Safety for Miami-Dade County. And we definitely wish you all the best with your upcoming election. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm your host, Anne-Marie Sorrell, and we'll see you next time on Legacy Leaders.